Snafu on Venus. I gather that you were sent here in answer to my message? Certainly, Matt said. Thank heaven for that. Even if you guys were stupid enough to stumble right into it. Now, tell me, how many are there in the expedition? This is going to be a tough nut to crack. This is the expedition. Right in front of you. What? This is no time to joke. I sent for a regiment of Marines, equipped for amphibious operations. Maybe you did, but this is what you got. Now, what's the situation? Burke seemed dazed. It's no use, he said. It's utterly hopeless. What's so hopeless? The natives seem friendly, on the whole. Now tell us what the difficulty was, so we can work it out with them. Friendly? Burke gave a bitter laugh. Friendly? Uh, they killed all of my men. They're going to kill me. And they'll kill you too. Also by Robert A. Heinlein. Fuck you, man. Spoiler alert. First chapter. Terra base. Okay, by the way, shout out. Shout out to these people, man. Shout out. I don't want to be rude. It's like bad. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Just thank you for the book, man. Let's look at this chapter 1 and let's try to experience this book. Snafu on Venus. Space Cadet by Robert A. Heinlein. I recommend everyone go buy a copy after this. Or something, your choice. I just recommend enjoying the literature written by a great expert or something. To Matthew Brooks Dodson, the paper in his hand read, Greetings. Having successfully completed the field elimination tests for appointment to the position of cadet in the Interplanetary Patrol, you're authorized to report to the Commandant. Terra Base, Santa Barbara Field, Colorado, North American Union, Terra, on or before 1 July 2075. For further examination, you are cautioned to remember that the majority of candidates taking these final tests usually fail, and you should provide. Matt folded the paper and stuck it back in his belt pouch. He did not care to think about the chance of failure. The passenger across from him, a boy about his own age, caught his eye. That paper looks familiar. You a candidate too? That's right. Well, shake. My name's Jarman. I'm from Texas. Glad to know you, Tex. I'm Matt Dodson from Des Moines. Howdy, Matt. We ought to be about there. The car sighed softly and slowed. Their chairs rocked to meet the rapid deceleration. The car stopped and the chairs swung back to normal position. We are there, Jarman finished. The telescreen at the end of the car, busy a moment before with a blonde beauty demonstrating Sorkin's superstellar soap, now read, Terra Base Station. The two boys grabbed their bags and hurried out. A moment later, they were on the escalator, mounting to the surface. Facing the station a half mile away in the cool, thin air stood Hayworth Hall, Earth headquarters of the fabulous patrol. Matt stared at it, trying to realize that he was at last seeing it. Jarman nudged him. Come on, man. Come on. Jarman nudged him. Come on. Huh? Oh, sure. A pair of slidewalks stretched from the station to the hall. They stepped onto the one running towards the building. The slidewalk was crowded. More boys streamed out of the station behind them. Matt noticed two boys with swarthy, thin features who were wearing high, tight turbans, although dressed otherwise much like himself. Further down the walk he glimpsed a tall, handsome youth whose impassive face was shiny black. The Texas boy hooked his thumbs in his belt and looked around. "Granny, kill another chicken," he said. "There's company for dinner. Speaking of that," he went on, "I hope they don't wait lunch too long. I'm hungry." Matt dug a candy bar out of his pouch, split it, and gave half to Jarman, who accepted it gratefully. "You're a pal, Matt. I've been living on my own fat ever since breakfast, and that's risky. Say, your telephone is sounding." "Oh," Matt fumbled in his pouch and got out his phone. "Hello?" "That's you, son?" came his father's voice. "Yes, Dad." "Did you get there all right?" "Sure. I'm about to report in." "How's your leg?" "Leg's all right, Dad." His answer was not frank. His right leg, fresh from a corrective operation for a short Achilles tendon, was aching as he spoke. "That's good. Now see here, Matt. If it should work out that you aren't selected, don't let it get you down. You call me at once, and—" "Sure, sure, Dad," Matt broke in. "I'll have to sign off. I'm in a crowd. Goodbye. Thanks for calling." "Goodbye, son. Good luck." Tex Jarman looked at him understandingly. "Your folks always worry, don't they?" "I fooled mine. Packed my phone in my bag." The slidewalk swung in a wide curve preparatory to heading back. They stepped off with the crowd in front of Hayworth Hall. Tex paused to read the inscription over the great doorway. "Quis custodi." "What does it say, Matt?" "Quis custodiet ipos custodes." That's Latin for "who will watch the guardians." "You read Latin, Matt?" "No, I just remember that bit from a book about the patrol." The rotunda of Hayworth Hall was enormous and seemed even larger, for, despite brilliant lighting at the floor level, the domed ceiling gave back no reflection at all. It was midnight black, black and studded with stars. Familiar stars. Blazing Orion faced the tossing head of Taurus, the homely shape of the Dipper balanced on its battered handle at north-northeast horizon. Just south of overhead the Seven Sisters shone. The illusion of being outdoors at night was most persuasive. The lighted walls and floors at the level at which people walked and talked and hurried seemed no more than a little band of light, a circle of warmth and comfort against the awful depths of space. Like prairie schooners drawn up for the night under a sharp desert sky. The boys caught their breaths, as did everyone who saw it for the first time. But they could not stop to wonder as something else demanded their attention. The floor of the rotunda was sunk many feet below the level at which they entered. They stood on a balcony which extended around the great room to enclose a huge, shallow circular pit. In this pit a battered spaceship lurched on a bed of rock and sand as if it had crash-landed from the mimic sky above. "It's the Kilroy," Tex said, almost as if he doubted it. "It must be," Matt agreed in a whisper. They moved to the balcony railing and read a plaque posted there. "USSF rocket ship Kilroy was here. First interplanetary ship. From Terra to Mars and return. Lieutenant Colonel Robert DeFries Sims, commanding Captain Saul S. Abrams, Master Sergeant Malcolm McGregor. None survived the return landing. Rest in peace." They crowded next to two other boys and stared at the Kilroy. Tex nudged Matt. "See the gash in the dirt where she skidded? Say, do you suppose they just built right over her, where she lay?" One of the other two, A big-boned six-footer with tawny hair answered, "No, the Kilroy landed in North Africa. Then they must have fixed it to look like they were where she crashed." "You a candidate too?" "That's right. I'm Bill Jarman from Texas, and this is Matt Dodson. I'm Oscar Jensen, and this is Pierre Armand." "Howdy, Oscar. Glad to know you, Pierre." "Howdy, Oscar. Glad to know you, Pierre." "Call me Pete," Armand acknowledged. Matt noticed that he spoke basic English with an accent, but Matt was unable to place it. Oscar's speech was strange too. A suggestion of a lisp. He turned back to the ship. "Imagine having the guts to go out into space in a cracker box like that," he said. "Scares me to think about it." "Me too," agreed Oscar Jensen. "It's a dirty shame," Pierre said softly. "What is, Pete?" Jarman demanded. "That their luck didn't hold. You can see it was an almost perfect landing. They didn't just crash in, or there would have been nothing left but a hole in the ground." Yeah, I guess you're right. Say, there's a stairway down over on the far side. See it, Matt? Do you suppose we could look through her?" "Maybe," Matt told him. "But I think we had better put it off. We've got to report in, you know." "We had all better check in," agreed Jensen. "Coming, Pete?" Armand reached for his bag. Oscar Jensen pushed him aside and picked it up with his own. "That's not necessary," Armand protested, but Oscar ignored him. Jarman looked at Pierre. "You sick, Pete?" he asked. "I noticed you looked kind of peaked. What's the trouble?" "If you are," put in Matt, "ask for a delay." Armand looked embarrassed. "He's not sick, and he'll pass the exam," Jensen said firmly. "Forget it." Show, Tex agreed. He followed the crowd and found a notice which told all candidates to report to room 3108. Third corridor. Show, Tex agreed. They followed the crowd and found a notice which told all candidates to report to room 3108, third corridor. They located corridor 3, stepped on the slideway, and put down their baggage. "Say, Matt," said Tex, "tell me, who was Kilroy?" "Let me see," Matt answered. "He was somebody in the Second Global War. An admiral, I think. Yeah, Admiral Bull Kilroy. That sounds right. Funny they'd name it after an admiral. He was a flying admiral." "You're a savvy cuss," Tex said admiringly. "I think I'll stick close to you during the tests." Matt brushed it off. "Just a fact I happened to pick up." In room 3108, a decorative young lady waved aside the credentials, but demanded their thumbprints. She fed these into a machine at her elbow. The machine quickly spit out instructions sheets headed by the name, serial number, thumbprint, and photograph of each candidate, together with temporary messing and room assignments. The girl handed out the sheets and told them to wait next door. She abruptly turned away. "I wish she hadn't been so brisk," complained Tex as they went out. "I want to get her telephone code. Say," he went on, studying his sheet, "there's no time left on here for a siesta." "Did you expect it?" asked Matt. "Nope. But I can hope, can't I?" The room next door was filled with benches, but the benches were filled with boys. Jarman stopped at a bench which was crowded by 3 large cases, an ornate portable refresher kit, and a banjo case. A pink-faced youth sat next to this. "Your stuff?" Tex asked him. The young man grudgingly admitted it. You won't mind if we move it and sit down, Tex went on. He started putting the items on the floor. The owner looked sulky but said nothing. There was room for three. Tex insisted that the others sit down, and sat down on his bag and leaned against Matt's knees, with his legs stretched out. His footwear, thus displayed, were seen to be fine western boots, high-heeled and fancy. A candidate across from the stared fro- a candidate across from them stared at the boots and spoke to the boy next to him. Pipe the cowboy? Tex snorted and started to get up. Matt put a hand on his shoulder, shoving him back. It's not worth it, Tex. We've got a busy day ahead. Oscar nodded agreement. Take it easy, fellow. Tex subsided. Well, alright. Just the same, he added. My Uncle Bodie would stuff a man's feet in his mouth for less than that. He glared at the boy across from him. Pierre Armand leaned over and spoke to Tex. Excuse me, but are those really shoes for riding on horses? Huh? What do you think they are? Huh? What do you think they are? Skis? Oh, I'm sorry, but you see, I've never seen a horse. What? I have, announced Oscar. In the zoo, that is. In a zoo? Repeated Tex. In the zoo at New Auckland. Oh, said Tex. I get it. You're a Venus colonial. Matt then recalled where he had heard Oscar's vaguely familiar lisp before. In the speech of a visiting lecturer. Tex turned to Pierre. Pete, are you from Venus too? No, I'm. Pete's voice was drowned out. Attention, please. Quiet. The speaker was dressed in a severely plain, oyster-white uniform of a space cadet. All of you, he went on, speaking into a hand amplifier, who have odd serial numbers, come with me. Bring your baggage. Even numbers, wait here. Wait where you are. Odd numbers, said Tex. That's me. He jumped up. Matt looked at his instructions. Me too. The cadet came down the aisle in front of them. Matt and Tex waited for him to pass. The cadet did not hold himself erectly. He crouched the merest trifle, knees relaxed and springy, hands ready to grasp. His feet glided softly over the floor. The fact was cat-like, easy grace. Matt felt that if the room were suddenly to turn topsy-turvy, the cadet would land on his feet on the ceiling, which was perfectly true. Matt wanted very much to look like him. As the cadet was passing, the boy with the plentiful baggage plucked at his sleeve. Hey, mister. The cadet turned suddenly and crouched, then checked himself as quickly. Yes. I've got an odd number, but I can't carry all this stuff. Who can I get to help me? You can't. The cadet prodded the pile with his toes. All of this is yours. Yes? What do I do? I can't leave it here. Somebody will steal it. I can't see why anyone would. The cadet eyed the pile with distaste. Lug it back to the station and ship it home, or throw it away. The youngster looked blank. You'll have to eventually, the cadet went on. When you make the lift to the school ship, 20 pounds is your total allowance. But, well, suppose I do. Who's to help me get it to the station? That's your problem. If you want to be in the patrol, you'll have to learn to cope with problems. But, shut up! The cadet turned away. Matt and Tex trailed along. 5 minutes later, Matt, naked as an egg, was stuffing his bags and clothes into a sack marked with a serial number. As ordered, he filed through a door, clutching his orders and remnant of dignity. He found himself in a gang refresher which showered him, scrubbed him, rinsed him, and blew him dry again, assembly line style. His instruction sheet was waterproof. He shook from it a few clinging drops. For 2 hours he was prodded, poked, thumped, photographed, weighed, x-rayed, injected, sampled, and examined until he was bewildered. He saw Tex once in another queue. Tex waved, slapped his own bare ribs, and shivered. Matt started to speak, but his own line started up. The medicos examined his repaired leg, making him exercise it, inquired the date of the operation, and asked if it hurt him. He found himself admitting that it did. More pictures were taken, more tests were made. Presently, he was told, "That's all. Get back into line." "Is it all right, sir?" Matt blurted out. "Probably. You'll be given some exercises. Get along." After a long time, he came into a room in which several boys were dressing. His path took him across a weighing platform. His body interrupted electric eye beams, relay closed, an automatic sequence took place based on his weight, height, and body dimensions. Presently, a package slid down a chute and plunked down in front of him. It contained an undergarment, a blue coverall, a pair of soft boots, all in his size. The blue uniform he viewed as a makeshift, since he was anxious to swap it for the equally plain but oyster white uniform of a cadet. The shoes delighted him. He sipped them on, relishing their softness and glove-like fit. It seemed as if he could stand on a coin and call it heads or tails. Cat feet. His first space boots. He took a few steps, trying to walk like the cadet he had seen earlier. "Dodson. Coming!" he heard out, and shortly found himself thrust into a room with an older man in civilian clothes. "Sit down. I'm Joseph Kelly." He took Matt's instruction sheet. "Matthew Dodson. Nice to know you, Matt. How do you do, Mr. Kelly?" "Not too badly. Why do you want to join the patrol, Matt?" "Why? Uh, because—" Matt hesitated. "Well, to tell the truth, sir, I'm so confused right now that I'm darned if I know." Kelly chuckled. That's the best answer. That's the best answer I've heard today. Do you have any brothers or sisters, Matt?" The talk wandered along, with Kelly encouraging Matt to talk. The questions were quite personal, but Matt was sophisticated enough to realize that Mr. Kelly was probably a psychiatrist. He stammered once or twice, but he tried to answer honestly. "Can you tell me now why you want to be in the patrol?" Matt thought about it. "I wanted to go out into space ever since I can remember. Travel around, see strange planets and strange people." "That's understandable, Matt. But why not the merchant service? The academy is a long, hard grind, and it's 3 to 1 you won't finish. Even if you are sworn in as a cadet, and not more than a quarter of the candidates will pass muster. But you could enter the merchant school. I could have you transferred today, and with your qualifications, you'd be a chinch. It would be a chinch."
Be a cinch to win your pilot's.
"And with your qualifications, you'd be a chinch to win your pilot's ticket before you're 20. How about it?" Matt looked stubborn. "Why not, Matt? Why insist on trying to be an officer of the patrol? They'll turn you inside out and break your heart, and no one will thank you for your greatest efforts. They'll make you over into a man your own mother wouldn't recognize, and you won't be any happier for it. Believe me, fellow, I know." Matt did not say anything. "You still want to try it, knowing chances are against you?" Yes. Yes, I think I do. Why, Matt? Matt still hesitated. Finally, he answered in a low voice. Well, people look up to an officer in the patrol. Mr. Kelly looked at him. That's enough reason for now, Matt. You'll find others, or quit. A clock on the wall suddenly spoke up. 13 o'clock. 13 o'clock. Then it added thoughtfully, I'm hungry. Mercy me, said Kelly. So am I. Let's go to lunch, Matt. That was chapter one of the biggest based book, Space Cadet, after Robert E. Heinlein. That was the first chapter, and I would say it was a quality chapter. Thank you very much.